Live from VentureX Studios in Frisco, Texas. It's JP, Kathy, and the crew.
And we are in with you, baby. Hey. Ow.
Are you going through puberty? What's that crack in your voice? We're partying.
I think it was the effect of trying to be Guns N' Roses with a mix of Bill and Ted.
Okay, and you know Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure is coming back with Bill and Ted the age they are now.
Yes.
I'm all over it.
I'm all over it. Are you kidding me?
I'm so in, it's not even funny.
I've already got my Vans purchased.
Oh, yes.
I've got my 501 button fly jeans.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, indeed.
Then
Yes,
I'd
indeed.
be wearing Guess jeans. I'm trying
Oh,
to think what
you'd
was
be hot in
popular
Guess
back
jeans.
then. Well, thanks. I might have been back in the day.
You'd
I
like
don't
my
know.
nice button, my 501s, by the way. Just letting you know.
What year was that?
Oh, gosh, Corley.
I'd have to look it up.
1984, baby.
Well,
Like 84, 85, wasn't it? Wasn't Bill and Ted 84, 85?
I'm going to look it
The
up.
crew
so
needs to
that's
tell
probably
us.
I
When was
should
Bill and
know.
Ted? Come on, Bill and Ted, you guys tell us. Hey, are you following us?
And there were...
Are you following us? I think we're being followed.
Yeah, we hope.
Well, you better be
In this
following us.
case.
Go follow us.
Weren't there, and there
Oh.
were sequels, too, like Bill and Ted's Excellent
Adventure.
Adventure, Bill and Ted's... Oh, gosh. Okay, I'm looking all that up right now. That's making me crazy.
I was
Bill
11 years old, so
and
I was still around.
I was
I mean,
11 years old.
I was around.
How old was I? I was 13.
Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure 2, and Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey.
Oh, and I loved all of them.
Remember?
by the way.
Oh, same here. Same here.
Loved them all.
Oh,
Hopefully
yeah.
you loved them all as well. Good morning. Welcome to JP, Kathy, and the crew.
It's the
We
movie
are
review.
excited. We've got Corley in the house. No, hold on. Okay. We got to try that one more time.
That was very enthusiastic.
The engineers are being engineers. Corley's in the house. Yeah, baby. There we go. Yeah, baby. Woo. All right. We've got Kathy in the house.
Yeah.
Now I'm just testing the engineers.
No, raise the roof.
Oh,
I
raise
don't
the
know.
roof.
I'm
Do we do
quitting
that?
now. No. I'm not-
Yeah,
I'm
where'd
not-
that come from,
I'm
right?
not cool enough for that. Hey, that's kind of Twilight Zone.
Oh, I loved that, by the way.
We're all into
Twilight
movies
Zone
and
too.
shows today.
Oh, heck, let's not talk about anything really important. Let's talk about movies. Hey, that sounds like Hope Floats.
1989.
Oh, it was
So I knew-
89.
Yeah, I was in college.
So I was really? I thought I was younger than that. Maybe I'm thinking Fast Times at Ridgemont High. How about that one?
Now that and
Spicoli.
one of the best
How many of you remember
soundtracks
Spicoli?
ever. Oh, wow. What?
What's up, dude? Whoa. Exactly. What was that? What was the assistant or the vice principal's name?
Mr. Hond, he was the teacher.
Oh.
He was a history teacher.
Oh, was that what it was?
And he's like, and Mr. Spicoli, do you have enough pizza to share with everyone? He's like, what, dude? Okay, that's another one of those movies I've got all the words memorized. Imagine that. We're just trying to get our spirit on. Remember the cheerleaders?
Oh, yes,
and,
I
everybody's all
remember that.
grumpy in the
Oh,
stands.
You're pretty talented.
Corley's like, what is
You're
happening?
pretty. I feel like I'm with like a multiple personality.
And you are.
This is.
That's what happens with entertainment. You didn't know that?
face?
You become multiple personality like.
He's like,
That's okay.
and Corley, you did not know that you were dealing with somebody with multiple personalities. There you go. No.
Speaking about multiple
I love it.
personalities, let's stay on that
The
for a
DNC.
second. Well, that too. Yeah. Well,
Kamala Harris. Somebody explained her performance the other night.
I
to
think
me.
that, I think there's a lot of
yeah.
issues.
Oh, I know we're talking about
Tons
that
of
later.
discussion,
So stay
yeah.
tuned. We'd love to hear from the crew on that.
Do we
one.
have Dr. Good zeroed in with us? Because we're looking for Dr. Good. They're in the Zoom meeting there. All right. Let's bring her on up and show her fabulous, beautiful self. Of course, Dr. Good is our superintendent in public education. She is our expert.
She is our
in
education
all
expert.
things. And look at her this morning. I love the pearls.
Morning. That actually looks like a gold bead.
Oh, is that a
necklace.
gold bead thing?
Yes.
Oh, I see.
Yes.
Yeah, see, my eyes don't work.
Get your accessories correct.
And I love
please.
the outfit too. Goodness, are you
Good
going
morning.
fancy this morning?
Yeah, where are you going after this?
Another Zoom meeting.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Another Zoom meeting.
Okay, so I want to ask you this: do you have your yoga pants, your workout pants on with that fancy top?
Dr.
Not
Good.
that.
Dr. Good.
I will not confirm or deny.
Would it be too much to ask for you to just kind of? I know my son's watching, so could you just pop your shoulder like that? Just go pop.
What now? What does that mean?
I mean, she's just looking good.
Oh, is that a thing?
That's a thing.
Is that something
Or
younger
brush,
kids
maybe
do?
that's. 10
Time to
years
talk
ago.
about what's really going on.
Yeah, she's like,
Ah,
She's like-
basically,
there she goes.
all right, children, let me get in charge of all of you.
Well,
and get
you had a
this over
meeting
with.
with the Commissioner of Education. Is that correct, on Thursday?
Yes, we did.
And so what is now coming out?
Well, remember last week I talked about the fact that they had filled 11 out of the 12 categories with new information. Well, this time, only 4 out of the 12. So that's pretty good.
Huh.
The first thing is there was a press release from the governor's office, and they have a lot to brag about. This Operation Connectivity has put over a million, has bought over 1 million devices and hotspots for students in Texas. And now they're not in the hands yet, because you can imagine that order for those vendors. They are
Oh,
scrambling
yeah.
to fill it, right? But over 1 million devices and hotspots will be going to school children in Texas. And they have spent over $900 million since March between the school districts, TEA, matching funds, and of course we're still trying to get matching funds from the municipalities. That was one of the things that, as generous as TEA has been, sometimes that communication piece is still a problem. They forgot to tell the municipalities that they were supposed to share that CARES funding with us, and so.
Oh.
Yeah, and so I have sent my emails to a couple of commissioners in Collin County and Dallas County, and thank you, Kathy, for that hookup.
You're welcome.
They had not heard of this. They're saying, well, we've got things to spend it on too, right? And it's like, I sent a PowerPoint. A PowerPoint came out yesterday showing us how we will get matching funds from TEA if we can secure funds from the municipality. So they are really... they're really making it, motivating us to continue knocking on that municipality door.
Right.
So I sent a couple of emails this morning to those commissioners to send the PowerPoint and what slide numbers, because I think some of these municipalities truly think that they're not supposed to help us.
Right.
And so it would have been good for TEA maybe to have warned them.
I was going to say, it seems like that would have been on the part of the TEA to give an official heads up, send to, the city, county manager, whatever the case may be, and say, hey, you are going to be inundated with calls because this is the directive we're giving to our superintendents all across the state. I'm sure everybody's kind of blindsided.
Well, I'm wondering, they may have reached out maybe to the mayors or something, but there are a lot of different people involved in municipalities. There's city, there's county, right?
Right.
And so I went to the county commissioners because that's who they said to go to, but some other superintendents have gone to mayors, but I think it depends on the size of the town. If I'm a superintendent of a small town and I eat breakfast on Saturday with the mayor, how that goes.
That's a different story. Not so much in Collin County.
Yeah. And so,
or Dallas County in your case.
They may have told somebody in Collin County, they just didn't spread the word to everybody in Collin County to expect.
Okay, interesting.
But what that does, and let me just, it's sort of an ingenious way of funding this. So they took the CARES Act money that came from the federal government. They gave us, we were able to put in an order for devices and hotspots. And then they matched it, and so we only had to pay half of that. And now they're saying our half, if we can get the LEAs to match that half, we end up not having to pay anything at all.
LEAs, the LEAs.
The school district.
Okay, gotcha.
So it's really quite motivating, right, to think we might be able to get all that money matched, and it loosens up funding for other things, right? Because none of us is flush.
Right. Well, and here's and especially because and now your campuses at Legacy Charter Prep were much more prepared and really took like a duck to water to the online remote learning. So your students and parents and teachers are very fortunate, very blessed, but there are other school districts that I know are still struggling, and even some of the larger school districts are still struggling right now, this second week of school. And I bet they could use those funds because all of a sudden it's like crunch time, and wow, maybe if I ordered this and we had this software program, then we'd be able to reach more kids. You've got school districts where they can't keep the Zoom meetings on for a full hour-long class.
Really?
Yeah, yeah.
Not a
Yeah, so it's that's money that definitely can be used right now.
Well, and I'll give you an example of how we've had to have unexpected expenses. We learned that for a mere $40,000, we can now be able to monitor the kids' devices, even if they're their own devices in their homes, if they're on our learning platform.
Okay. Yep.
Talk about big.
I was going to say, wow, so, okay, everybody, watch what you're saying and doing about don't say anything bad about your teachers while you're on a 5-minute break.
But you can imagine, really, it's a $40,000 well spent.
Right.
To be able to add another level of security to the software that the kids are using.
Right.
Our name, so to speak, right, during our time. And so we're glad to spend that $40,000, but we hadn't budgeted for it because nobody budgeted for COVID.
Right.
And so getting those matching funds would cover, for example, an expense like that.
Right.
So the next thing that is new that they want us to do, and it's not a bad thing, it's just very structured and frameworky, which is it's to convene a school mental health and wellness team. So they want us to get a team together and give, they even have the assessments, and it's very well thought out, give an assessment to our crew, because the lots of, you can't teach them if you don't reach them. Well, we know that for kids, but guess what? That's true for our adults too.
Right.
And so what TEA is saying is, hey, make sure your staff has, staff needs are met, mental staff needs are met,
Yes.
so that they can become better teachers for their own students. And so, but we just got this yesterday, and school starts Monday.
And so I am very glad to hear, and I know you've spoken over the years extensively with us about mental health and mental well-being, and you've even got things that you had in place on your campuses to make sure, kind of a touch point to check to make sure kids are okay at the beginning of the day, and that if a kid's having trouble, that everybody's alerted. I'm glad that this is something that is a directive from the state. I'm glad that they're aware of this, but it seems like this is something that probably should have been discussed over the summer.
Right. Well, they're, bless their heart.
Better late than never.
Building planes also while flying it. But, it's, we're all in this together, and so we all have to cut each other some slack and be graceful.
Right.
But it's nice. It says, consider designating wellness ambassadors on campus to champion your vision for mental health and emotional wellness across the campus.
Okay.
Develop and promote strategies to reduce stigmas of discussing stress, grief, trauma, mental health concerns, and even COVID.
Excellent.
There is COVID shaming going on, and that's just not a legacy thing. I hear it other places. If you get COVID, people think you have like cooties for life.
Oh, it's like AIDS back in the day, where people are like, oh my gosh, or it's crazy. It's crazy.
Or leprosy.
Yeah, or leprosy. Yeah, I mean, honestly, it's crazy.
So over time, this will be a good thing, and so it's just planning for it. Well, the day before school starts for us, but it's well intentioned, and so focus on connection before content. We tell our teachers to do that with the kids, right? And so they're telling us to do this thing.
Well,
Positive
and the research, Dr. Good, shows that connection before content is how you get better test scores, better in-classroom results, better behavior on the playground, or better behavior in between classes, depending on what grade level you're in, because those people don't want to disappoint their teachers.
Less truancy.
Much less truancy.
Yes.
If they like their teacher, they're coming to school.
Absolutely.
Oh, amen.
Absolutely.
Amen.
Well, we've got 1 minute left, Dr. Good. So what would you like to leave everybody in the crew with as we get ready to kick on the rest of our day?
Well, don't forget, we have the Ask Dr. Be Good show on Sunday mornings at 8, where we explore deeper, further the politics, the pedagogy, and the practice around public education, and building a public advocacy army in time for our legislative session.
Love it.
In January.
Love it. We need to get little buttons that say Dr. Good's Army. And then when you go down to Austin and you're testifying, everybody who's testifying and working with you, all of your advocates that you're training right now, can have like some kind of cool little thing. I love that. Ask Dr. B's Army. If I were a state rep, I'd be like, oh, they're coming. I love it.
Thank you. Talk later.
All right, take care,
good
Dr.
one.
Good. Have a blessed day as you get ready to start school. All right, it is currently 7:53 here at Venture X Studios in Frisco, Texas. We are JP, Kathy, and the crew, and we're the yes people.
Well, because it's going to be a beautiful day today.
I love you, but it's not your turn yet.
I know, but
we
I'm
all get
excited about
turns.
today.
Like, we didn't give Corley a turn, by the way.
I'm enjoying what I'm hearing.
No, but I mean, not a turn like that, because you just got to jump in and step on us. No,
yeah,
not
he's
that.
learning.
Yeah, like Kathy did a great job because I got to share to all of the groups that like to
so
be a
how
part
many
of us.
shares did you do today?
So today, 283,000.
Wow.
Well, people
right,
shared
within
to.
the groups.
Yeah, not 283,000
Right.
groups. That'd been amazing fingers.
And we need to get more people liking us, or subscribing to us on YouTube.
Uh-oh. Followers are following.
So,
follow
do
us.
it, do
Follow
it.
us. Follow us. Like us. Like us. Like us. Yeah, go and follow us.
Something
Like
like
us.
that.
We love you, and you're the one that makes this a fun deal. And so go out and like us and love us. We are the JP, Kathy, and the Crew Network. We will be bringing you all kinds of entertainment, information, education on Sundays. Join Dr. Good at 8 o'clock in the morning. We've got a husband and wife financial team that's going to blow your socks off because, one, they're hilarious, and two, extremely knowledgeable about financial management and how to cope within a marriage on how to manage money. So you're going to want to join us there. We've got a criminal justice show that's going to make you die. You're going to go, is that really going on in the North Texas area? Yes. You're going to be
Can
like,
you feed us too?
can I feed you?
Yeah.
I did.
Well, what's that lunch?
Oh, now hold on a minute. That's Corley's gig. We'll let Corley do that. Corley can push the event. There we go. Corley, we found you something.
Oh, there you go.
What am I pushing now? I'm sorry.
He's like, wait, what?
What's this impromptu garbage? What do you talk about?
What did I sign up for right now?
I'm with you. I'm
So,
with you.
Kathy, take it away.
All right. 72 degrees and sunny today here in the beautiful Frisco at the Venture X Studios. Headed towards a high of 93 and a low of 69. And lovely sunny weekend. Looks like 94 to 96 degrees this weekend. So get out there and soak up some vitamin D.
Well, I also heard we may have a little bit of a rain shower early in the morning tomorrow morning. So hopefully it'll cool down a little bit, and then we can get on with our 94 degrees.
There you go.
You know, Corley, what are you doing today at 11:30?
Watching.
All the ladies want to know.
They really do. No, they do. They do.
They do, Corley.
We're gonna be hanging out with you guys, getting some. What do we have? Beer down there? What's going on?
Beer, whiskey. Yeah, no. We can't do that. You know, we can't do that. How about hamburgers and hot dogs?
That sounds good.
That sounds good. Yeah, so we've got a big event coming on 11:30 today till 1 o'clock here at the Venture X Studios right here in Frisco, Texas. Chance is going to be outside grilling and barbecuing. I'm going to be out there with him. I'm going to join him.
Love it, love it, love it.
And so super excited about feeding you. Come on out. Join us. This is just a hangout event. Come have lunch with us here at Venture X
come
Studios.
and go. Even if you can stop by and say hello and grab a hamburger to go, come on out.
Yeah, I'll be in a Speedo. Kathy will be in a bathing suit. Come on, join us.
JP.
We won't be?
No, not today.
I thought we were taking pictures.
No, Corley's with us. We have to be professional.
Oh, professional.
We are
Okay.
taking pictures. Yeah, people can come in and
And
check
take
out
pictures
the
at
studio
studio
too.
and have a
Yeah.
good time. So we welcome you. Share our feed. Share it with your friends.
Please do.
You know, you always want to call and share your bad stories. Share something good. Share us.
Share some fun.
Share some fun.
Share some sunshine.
So, as you notice, today is Hawaiian Shirt Day. And I want to say, Corley, you look fantastic.
Look at you, man.
Don't
It's
you
been in
love
my
it?
closet for a long time, so I got lucky.
Well, that's because Chuck has recreated and reinvented Hawaiian Shirt Day.
Okay.
That died in like 1986.
It's just
He's making
You're
it
not
come
on.
back.
Your microphone's
a
not
little
on.
louder.
Or you're
Got to
low.
be on. Am I on?
Yeah, you're on
You're
now.
on now.
You're making it make a comeback.
Well, you know, my mic stand broke, so
Yeah, you do look a little low. I wish we had a camera angle on you. You're looking a little low right now. We need to help you out. Help him out. Yeah, give him a couple laughs. There you go. Hey, we got chuckles for chuckles. Can't beat that. So now we have crickets. That's not good. Crickets are not good. A lot going on in sports as well. And so we're going to talk a little bit about the Texas Rangers and their slide in San Diego, hoping to change their life in Seattle, for goodness sakes. How about the Houston Astros? They're on a tear, 8 straight.
Oh, my God.
They have nobody in the bullpen that's of name. Everybody's a rookie, or pretty much a rookie. They've got nobody
this is
hitting
crazy.
Yeah, they're crack-a-lacking all over the place.
Well, and Coach Quigley sent me a heads up. He's like, you do know you're going to need to break out that Houston Astros hat that I purchased for you last season pretty soon here. And I'm like, all right, Coach, all right.
You know why he's telling you that, don't you?
Why?
Because the Rangers are on a 5-game slide.
Yeah. He was more promoting the Astros than like trying to totally destroy me and
They
bust
only
chops
have
on.
60 games. I mean, can't they do something?
Well, not after 5 game slide. This has been horrible. A grand slam in each one of the games with San Diego.
Wow.
Yeah, wow. That's not good.
Well, the Rangers don't normally get into their own until game 100 or
Yeah, somewhere around. They find their groove at like game 87.
40 games after they finish the season, they're ready to play.
They're ready to go.
Yeah, I mean, okay, so these are all some stats from Coach Quigley. No Cy Young pitcher, no MVP runner-up, no closer, no All-Star in Brantley, no Rookie of the Year. Bullpen with 10 rookies that either pitched the A or Double A last season. Back-to-back double digit output for runs. I mean, that's when he sent me all of that, I'm like, you know what? I am going to dust off the Houston Astros shirt, ball cap, because they deserve some respect.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, again, they're making it happen. Well, this reminds me of what created the movie with the Oakland A's. What was that movie called again? Beanball, or what was that movie called?
Beanball.
Well, bean count. It was a bean count. Remember the accountant came in, the Astros, the Athletics.
Moneyball.
Moneyball. Thank you.
Moneyball. Beanball.
Well, I mean, I'm sitting here trying to do 100,000 things at one time. Oh, and look at Gail says, Corley's looking sharp. The ladies are talking. See, I know I brought Corley on for a reason. He's the good-looking one of the two of us.
We want to give a shout-out to Judy Overton. She said, we love your show, and have a great weekend. So
Absolutely.
you have a great weekend as well, and tell your friends to come out and watch us.
And Coach Quigley, I agree with you. Dusty Baker absolutely is Manager of the Year material, doing a fantastic job. First of all, I love Dusty Baker anyways. Remember, big Dodgers fan. That's where my home team is. So, anyways, lots and lots of fun. Thank you all for the crew for joining us. Please share our feed out.
Yes.
Tell your friends to follow us. Tell your friends to like us. We like them. Why not like us too? We follow them. They can follow us. And if we don't, tell us. And we will. We'll follow you. How about
I like you, Corley.
Oh,
I like
y'all
you,
are-
Kathy.
That was
I
nice.
like you too, Charles.
That was nice.
Yeah, I liked him.
That's nice.
I like you, John.
Charles, I like
that's
you too,
nice.
even though you only wear boxers into the studio.
No,
I like you too.
Okay, and
Okay,
everybody's
come
like,
on.
when
Where
are we
did that
getting?
X-ray vision come from?
Yes, when are we getting the camera on Charles?
Well, we need it because the boxer selection each week is fantastic.
Oh my!
I love seeing his boxers.
my.
So I got to say, Charles, I really like you too, but I'm going to say why.
Okay.
Ooh.
You have a great leadership. Well, you have several competencies that are really good, but one is accountability, flexibility. You don't wait for someone to ask you to do something.
Yeah.
You just do it.
Yeah.
And responsibility is just like someone's ability to respond, but also flexibility. You never cry. You're always, look at you. If you all could see him right now, he's stooping down to a microphone that's, I don't know whether it's broke or what, but anyway, kudos.
There you go.
I don't have a sound effects for that. So
See, now the reason why I like Chuck, since we're doing this, is because he
my.
made Jacob.
wow.
Oh, there you
I
go.
listened to it.
Jacob's awesome.
I had that small little bowl.
I was gonna say his wife would say that she.
Oh,
had, she had
Ann was
quite a
amazing
bit to
too.
do
Don't get
with
me
that.
wrong, but yeah, it's Jacob.
Nice.
We love Jacob. What a great guy. Actually, Ann and Chuck did a fantastic job with their kids. But I don't know a Gura that didn't do a fantastic job with their children.
Amen.
But when you have that leadership from the top, that's how it happens.
Well, golly, you guys are just so awesome.
Yeah, but that's
We
true,
love you.
though.
We mean it from the bottom of our
That's
heart.
true, though.
We would not be able to come here and and it's interesting, being in a new format, a new studio, a whole new. I mean, we've got our own network now and our own production company and all this kind of crazy stuff. And so, to come here and do this show in a new way when we've been very set in our ways, you could say, JP, for the last 5 years that we've done radio together, to do this new format. Doesn't just happen.
No.
And Charles
Not
is
with
able.
the two of us.
Yeah.
Not
I
with
know,
the
like
two
we're two
of us.
difficult kids to work with. Corley, on the other hand, he's easy to work with. But Charles is able to, help us out, to tell us, no, trust me on this. This is going to look good. Go with this. Go with that. And we do. We really appreciate that, because this. Goodness, if it was just up to me and you, JP, we'd still be in our other office in Frisco.
Building a studio.
Yeah, with your phone propped up on some books.
Yeah.
Honestly, I had no idea what I was doing when I signed up for this.
Right.
And then I just took what we had and just tried to make it work.
And it's worked.
And you're doing a
But
great
this is
job.
how I felt when I first, said, okay, here, I'll help you guys out.
Speaking of, it is currently 8:03 here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. We are JP, Kathy, and the crew. We come to you live Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 7:30 to 9 o'clock. And Charles, I can catch the rebroadcast
Yes.
At 11:30.
at
Love it.
11:30.
Love it.
Today we
and
may
love
be
it.
doing.
We're doing some more live
we
today.
may be doing
Yeah.
some live stuff
In
today.
fact, I think I'd like to do some live stuff
That'd be
today.
fun.
That would be fun today. Let's do that.
Yeah, and introduce some of the people who work here at Venture X, or that have their businesses here at Venture X. Yeah, good stuff. Good stuff. Well,
Maybe
JP,
have
it's
like
seven. Huh?
Maybe have like a Q&A or something.
Oh, that'd be fun. Oh, yeah, that'd be a blast. So come on out. We'll put you on camera. We don't have to. You can come out. You don't have to be on camera. But if you want to, we can put you on. We've got 72 degrees here in sunny Frisco, Texas, headed towards a high of 93 and a low of 69.
All right. So join the JP, Kathy, and the Crew network. You can do that in all kinds of ways. If you have a show idea, you want to be on the network, man, let us know. We got some exciting stuff coming to you. We will have like a TV guide, for lack of a better term, that'll be going up on our social media so you
Yes.
can see who's when and when's who. We're going to have breakfast or brunch with Ben.
Yeah, brunch with Ben. I think brunch with Ben is the name.
Brunch with Ben.
We've got a production meeting with them.
That's
next
Benjamin
week.
Franklin, by the way.
Ben Franklin, yes. We've got a Christian kids creative arts show where you're going to see some of the most talented kids here in the North Texas area. They're super excited about that show, and I believe that show starts next week. So
Well, and what's
good stuff.
exciting about that is that these are folks that were off Broadway.
Yeah,
In
oh,
New York, off
oh, I mean,
Broadway,
yeah.
directing, producing.
Well, and they've
Amazing.
It's one of those things. We really feel like when we took this leap of faith for this new format, and then Corley's going to tell us about some of our exciting guests that are coming up next week. But we've got it's one of those things. We just really took this leap of faith. We prayed over it individually as a group, and then all of a sudden. So many God things kept happening, like the situation like with Charles having connections out here at Venture X, and then that working out. And, myself having met Corley at a political event, gosh, not even a year ago, and then JP and I still loving each other and not killing each other after all of these years. I swear we're related somewhere. We just haven't figured that out yet. But, so the thing with the kids with Creative Arts for Christ, they had literally, before we went live that very first Monday, they had already built a set and were trying to figure out how to do some type of online show. And so Crystal, who's a regular on our show and who is part of the crew, reached out and said, "You'll never believe this," and sent a picture and said, "Where do we sign up?" And, just like that, we'll have a Christian-based, arts show next week.
Right.
So,
Yeah, very excited about that. And then, do we have a drum roll thingy-majigger?
Yeah, we need like a big old, because we've got
Or
some
something.
big guests coming on next week. Oh,
Well,
that's
well,
good.
that'll work.
That'll work.
Just a
So
rim shot.
we've got our very good friend,
Your very good friend.
Congressman Van Taylor.
Oh, our very good friend. Oh, I thought you were going to talk about.
Well, no, we'll get to that. No, we're going to get to that about
Congressman
8:30.
Van Taylor.
About
He-
8:30, I'm going to
and
give you a big release for
Congressman-
next week.
Yeah,
8:30, tune in. Holy
Okay.
moly, you don't want to miss this.
Yeah, but
I'm
let me
digging
tell
up
you-
bones. Oh, sorry, continue.
That's kind of amen.
Amen. man.
Okay,
Oh yeah.
so, but Congressman Van Taylor will actually be here in studio. The nice thing about having, he's like, oh, y'all are a mess. But the nice thing about having our studio here in the Collin County area is that the congressman can actually come in studio and hang out with y'all and tell everybody what's going on and maybe, gosh, I'm hoping he can kind of decipher some of the mystery that has been the long infomercial of the DNC.
Yeah, something, that's for sure.
Yeah, Congressman Taylor, please help us.
Well, so go ahead,
I
Corey.
was going to say I had opportunity to speak with him. We were working together,
Yeah.
trying to get some interviews going. I mean,
Yep.
what a great guy he is!
Such a good man.
Just down to earth. He was very present, and it was a phone conversation, but what a present guy. So yeah, those who
Yep.
can tune in.
So
Yeah, very
also,
fortunate here in the 3rd Congressional District.
also very excited about the fact that we are just JP, Kathy, and the crew having a great time with JP, Kathy, and the crew
We're just a
network,
mess.
bringing on cool
We're a
people
mess.
to you. You are what makes this fun.
Yes.
We love that. We love that you interact with each other on our social media streams. So, but to make this thing happen, you got to follow us. Follow us, follow us, follow us. You got to like us. Go out and like us and then share us to all of your friends. We want to have 100,000 followers by June.
No
Help us get
pressure.
there.
No
Help us
pressure.
get there. You can do it.
Well,
We can
yeah.
do it. Let's do
And,
this.
if everybody gets, if all of the different members of the crew even get just, 50 to 100 people who they have through their social media network, we can get there very easily.
Easily. We just need your
Somebody
help.
do the math on that.
Just need your help. Tell your friends to spread it out there. Right, Charles?
Yeah. Do you know where all we're streaming to?
I do. But we'll,
Oh,
do
yeah.
we want to cover that,
Somebody-
Corley?
Well, somebody was asking
Corley,
that.
give us some
Yeah.
PR advice on that.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
what,
Should we be covering that?
somebody asked me about that.
So yeah, in regards to telling people where,
All the platforms that we're streaming to.
yeah, I don't know if we'd say them all. There's too many to probably list, but you could probably put them up somewhere for someone, or,
Ooh,
or
that would be
send,
nice.
send a link.
Ooh,
Look at
there you
Jacob.
go.
Jacob's like, ding.
Dun, 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 dun.
I wish we needed a camera on that look. Dad looked over at Jacob as if to say, I'm not validating that. Jacob does this,
What?
and Dad does this. I wish you could have seen it. It was perfect. I loved it. I loved every minute of that. Thank you, Chuck and Jacob, for providing us with that bit of entertainment.
I'm glad I can be part of your entertainment.
Yeah.
We were.
If folks want to, I mean, you guys have been going for a long time. So if folks want to chime in and say something, bits that you've done in the past that they have seen
Oh.
before, it's sometimes getting feedback is hard to ask for.
Right.
When you're doing it,
Right.
but since I'm here, I can ask for you.
There you go.
You could let us know what you like. Anything you want to see more of? Just a thought.
Well, and we do. We absolutely do that. And we have done that in the past. And
course.
Corley, thank you for bringing us back to our roots in that we want to hear what you want.
Yes.
And we will bring more of it to you. A little more controversy, by the way, Kathy. I haven't told you this yet. Chad Green reached out to me.
Oh, yes.
And we're going to ask another individual who thinks that the council members in McKinney are moronic and are
Uh-oh.
directly connected to them and can back that up and was already been on other radio shows and discussing.
That we have done?
No, not us.
Oh, other way. Oh.
Yeah, already discussing what's going on with them. So
Interesting.
we're
Well,
going to keep. We're going to keep
continue
this.
to follow.
Bring the
Is Chad back
information.
on?
What's that?
Is Chad coming back on?
Well, eventually, I think we're going to get Chad back on. I think we're going to get Alonzo back on, and Councilman Shimwell as well back on.
And,
He's
yeah,
agreed to come back on.
And we've had Mayor Fuller has been on our show before to discuss other issues. Maybe he would come on the show and discuss this as well. So
Right. And so
anybody from the McKinney City Council who has thoughts on this, reach out to us, message us.
We'd love to hear
JP,
from
Kathy
you.
and the crew. We will absolutely bring you on camera.
So before we dump sports altogether, I do want to mention this, by the way. The Dallas Stars have a huge night last night.
Oh, yes, yes.
I never can pronounce this guy's name right. Arianoff, I think is his name.
Yeah.
Arianoff. Not just a hat trick, but how about 4 goals in routing the Calgary Flames 7?
Holy
Yeah.
Toledo Batman.
Batman.
I mean, talk about the MVP for the game.
Yeah.
That's some hockey like I've never seen.
Yeah, it was unbelievable. So they go on to round 2 now. So your Dallas Stars advance in the playoffs. And they play the Colorado Avalanche, by the way. Rangers, Colorado Avalanche. And then, of course, the Mavericks are in the playoffs. And then.
Which is so weird. Oh, Gail said more pranks, of course.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, shocking.
Yeah.
I love that about Gail. It's kind of off-putting that we're that we've barely had any of these seasons, and we're talking playoffs, and we're in the playoffs, and all that kind of stuff. Is it just me, or is anybody else kind of having trouble wrapping their head around? I'm so used to a full season and the highs and the lows and the boring moments and the great moments. And so they're like, playoffs, and I'm like, what?
Well,
did I even see a game?
It's because basketball's not supposed to be playing basketball right now. You know,
all of
we
it's
should
just
be-
weird.
our-
Like baseball, basketball, and hockey and playoffs all at the same time. What?
no. Welcome to COVID-19 2020.
I know.
Absolutely.
Par for the course.
Yeah.
Just kind of
Oh, pun
lots of
intended.
surprises.
Pun intended. Sports.
What's
Par for the
next?
course.
So
Right.
Just kind of prepare for it. Yeah.
And I think that's the big one, right? What's next? That's exactly, where's the next shoe going to drop?
And Coach Quigley's right. Who would have thought that hockey would be the best sport in the DFW area? Amen.
Yeah. Okay, easy, Coach. Now you're picking on my Rangers.
I remember
You're
when
picking on my Rangers.
I remember when they won the Stanley Cup.
Oh, gosh, yes.
Heck
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
Gosh, yes.
Heck yeah.
I got myself my old
And
Mike
last
Madonna
season-
autographed puck, man.
Oh, let me tell you, last season, and even Chris O'Sullivan, a dear friend of ours and a member of the crew, we had talked at the end of last hockey season about how this would be the Dallas Stars Stanley Cup year again.
Correct.
So we had predicted that at the end of hockey season last year. So
We did.
and then COVID hit.
So it's 8:13 currently here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. We are JP, Kathy, and the crew. We come to you live Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 7:30 to 9 o'clock. And Charles, we rebroadcast at
11:30 a.m.
There you go. So you can always catch the rebroadcast if we're up just a little wee bit early for you in the morning. And so you can catch us again always on the rebroadcast.
Well, and we're in a podcast form, and then somebody was asking me, how do they get to the podcast? I've got to figure all the technology out of this, but you can always go back to Facebook or YouTube.
Right. Follow YouTube. On that deal, go to
Twitch.
YouTube.
And that way you can watch the show, you can push it out. Anybody can watch it at any time. So there you go.
And it's time to start driving YouTube up. We need everybody to get over to
Yes.
YouTube, subscribe, and start watching
yes,
over on
yes.
YouTube. Kathy and I and Coralie, we have the ability, while you see our laptops here, and hopefully very soon you will get to see it up here on the big screen, is that we
Magic.
bring everything into one chat box where we can see where everybody's chatting. And so we've got people that are on Facebook, YouTube, Periscope.
Periscope. Look.
Oh, wait, did he get it up there? Looky there. There you are, crew. There you are. Dun, 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 dun. So eventually we'll have it where it's like it is now, full screen, maybe even make it a little bit bigger, where we'll talk to you and interact with you back and forth. And I love this. I asked Charles to do this, and he's made it happen. Again, it's just like Coralie said,
So
Charles
great.
makes stuff happen. And this is just way cool. So let's see if I can say something out there. Hello, everybody. And looky there. Kaboom. Ha! There's a hello, everybody. So we love your comments. Keep them coming. We are the JP, Kathy, and the Crew Network. We'd love to have you jump on the network with us. Fred, we need Yankee Doodle Fred.
Yeah, when's that show
We
coming?
need Yankee Doodle Fred.
That's hilarious.
Oh, he would be fantastic.
That's hilarious.
I'd love to be a guest on that show. Yankee Doodle Fred.
Yep.
So, but yeah, we love you. We thank you for joining us. Here at 8:30, we got Dr. D coming on. That's right.
So, ladies, and he will be live and on video
Yeah, he says he's not going to be
chat.
on video chat today.
What?
Yeah, he says he's got
Oh,
Lily, and Lily's going to
Dr.
be running him all over the
Oh,
place.
no, but we want that.
Yeah,
Oh, we want-
I know that,
I
yeah, but
want-
he says the
I want
camera won't stay
Lily.
with him. So I told him we got to get him a Lily cam.
Oh, yes, I want a Lily cam.
Yeah, I gotta get him a
like
Lily
he needs
cam.
one of those GoPros on his head.
Yeah, I told him that.
And just have her on video and he can talk.
He thought that was hilarious, by the way.
That's good.
Yeah, need a Lily cam. So talking about Lily cam, very interesting. We are becoming controversial, Kathy. Or
What?
controversy, Coralie.
Controversy. We like to say controversy because it sounds like a fancy thing. Like, oh, we're full of controversy.
Kathy likes to say controversy.
Yeah.
I screw it
He's
up
like,
9
I
out of 10
don't know.
times. I get it right like
I've
once.
got a couple of made-up words. Controversy's one.
like it.
Redonkulous. Now that one I like.
That's a big one.
But I think I had that one before because I think I just did that. Maybe it was a Plano East thing I picked up.
Redonkulous I've had for years and years
I'm
and
talking like my
years.
junior year when we were calling everybody Hokies.
What?
Yeah, we had the Hokie Smokes group.
What's that?
It was us, a group of like 5 guys.
Why were y'all Hokies?
Because we were Hokies, man. We were Hokies. Hokie Smokes, man.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's
It's just one of our
that's
things.
redonkulous. And a commence eye roll.
Oh,
brother.
come on. If you can say
I think
things
one of my
like,
eyes is still stuck back in my head from
If
such a
you can-
serious eye roll.
if you can play with unicorns, I
And
can say Hokie
Oh, I
Smokes.
forgot to put my unicorn up this morning.
Yeah, there are clowns coming, by the way.
Yeah,
just letting
Gail
you
just
know.
put a bunch of unicorn and Unicorn and.
See, this is our technical.
Oh, Marvin said he's too shy and withdrawn. What, Marvin?
All right.
I don't get that vibe.
Jacob, if you could just stand there and hold that, our ratings will go up because you're cute. So just stay there and those will go up. So
we do need the younger demographics to join us.
We do.
Jacob, can you just come and sit in the middle of the table?
yeah,
Thanks.
see, you don't need oil of Olay for your wrinkles. We do. I'm creaming it up over here.
Oh, and you know what? We were talking about doing a health and beauty segment, and we've got a potential health and beauty show that's going to start here. We're looking at a couple of them, so we're really excited about that. But we were talking about this, and we need to do this on Fridays because it's fun. Like do a thing like, okay, talk about do you use something for your hair? Like I did that dry shampoo test
Right.
on your hair. Because you do have a regimen. I think you use more face cream than me. You're very
I've got a regimen.
serious and specific, and you stick to it.
Well, I want to make sure that my Portuguese skin continues to be Portuguese skin, right? My mother, and I'll put a picture up over here like next week. My mother had beautiful skin.
Your mom, how old was she when she passed?
66.
Okay, your mom never looked a day over 39, 40?
Yeah, and thank you for that. And you're right. I mean,
I remember seeing a picture of her. I was like, oh, that's a nice older picture. And you're like, that's last year. And I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And again, it's that Portuguese Mediterranean skin and blood, and so our skin is really good in our family. My great grandmother, my grandmother, my great aunt, they didn't really start getting wrinkles until their late 70s, mid to late 70s, and so I want to make sure I'm taking care of business. So I've got my L'Oreal Day Cream. I've got my eye serum that I put on so I can help because I smile a lot. I smile a lot, so I don't want these things over here. And so...
They're called crow's feet.
Yeah, thank you.
Or smile lines.
Smile lines.
Sounds like my wife's
regimen.
makeup drawer or
Well,
whatever.
okay, keep going because literally he's got more
And
products
then I've
than
got,
I do.
and after I wash my face, which I use Neutrogena face wash.
Okay.
Or I'll use...
do you exfoliate?
No, because I really don't need to because I shave.
Okay.
I don't really need to exfoliate.
You may want to exfoliate around the forehead and the eyes.
The face wash, I also use whatchamacallit. What's the other? What's the big makeup?
chocolate thing.
I know, right? I use a whatchamacallit chocolate bar to exfoliate. What is the what's the line of makeup? It's huge. They have a lot of cleansers and stuff as well. They're in a blue bottle and a green bottle. Anyways, I use that as well.
Oh, Cetaphil or
No.
Cetaphil.
All those people we're naming, great sponsors.
Yeah, they could all be sponsors.
They could all be
And we
sponsors.
do have a great introductory rate for sponsors, by the way. We're going to start
We do.
recruiting sponsors soon now that we've got some more shows coming online. But okay, so
And I've got a night cream.
So how many total face products do you use, and do you use them daily?
4, 5. I got 5.
Wow.
And I use them daily.
Wow.
And then I take my men's vitamins.
Wow.
And I take biotin.
Yeah, well, biotin's good for biotin and collagen are good
Oh my
supplements.
gosh, I have so many vitamins.
Okay, Corley,
Well, no,
what
do-
about, do you do any kind of face cream or anything?
Well, yeah, but not religiously
Not
like
5?
that. But
Okay, Charles,
good.
what about you?
it's really good.
Yeah, it's good for your skin.
Do you use any kind of face creams or any kind of thing?
I use a tea tree oil and I think it's charcoal body wash or whatever.
Okay.
Just wash it maybe every other day.
Wow, and for a chick, yeah, you use more than me. I'm very simple. I'm one of those. I'm bad. I don't wash my face at night, which is so bad. I've got a girlfriend who literally hammers me every time she and I go out of town together. She's like, "Oh my gosh, do you want? I've got stuff to take off your makeup," and I'm like, because there's some days I roll out of bed the next day and that way I've already got makeup from the night before and it's all good. But wow.
But you know what? It's good that you take care of yourself.
It
like that.
really
It's-
is. It
more
really
people should
is.
put
I'm
stock in
motivated.
themselves
I'm
like that.
motivated.
It's-
I'm
Thank you,
like,
There's nothing wrong with that.
I'm actually, I'm gonna start putting something on at night
Michelle.
to think about, because if JP's putting on a night cream, doggone it, I'm busting a move.
It's not like you can see it. It's just something that's internal for him. So
Right.
I think if more people were focused on
that
themselves,
pride.
they would maybe
Take
be
that
out of
pride.
other people's business.
Well, and
I
it's,
don't know.
Yeah.
as Kathy
You're focusing
said,
on you.
Less time to
really,
gripe about
less time to, yeah,
Was
I
that too
agree.
much? I'm sorry.
What are they saying, John?
Oh, it's hilarious. So Fred goes, you use a whatchamacallit candy bar for your skin, JP? Like, I think Fred's going to start using that. And then Michelle goes, dang, JP.
Is that a real thing?
You got me beat. I just sit in the sun. Yes. Have you seriously not heard of that? So whatchamacallit has the very natural rice thingy-majiggers in
You're
it.
talking about whatchamacallit, the
The
actual
candy bar. Yeah, and then the chocolate's got caffeine, which is good for your skin as well. So you exfoliate and you enhance your skin tone with the caffeine and
Somebody in the
chocolate
crew help
and
me.
the
Is
rice.
this real?
No, it's not
all.
real.
No.
No,
He's
that's
making it
funny
up.
though that I've got you on a
I'm
hook.
like, wait a second, 'cause I like that candy bar.
I do too. I think you can just lick it right off your cheeks.
Okay, no.
He almost had me
Get
too.
some
He sucked me in, man.
Jiffy and some Hershey bars, right?
Yeah.
But
There you go.
there are some foods that are really good for your skin.
Good morning, Jim Devlin. Hey, Jim
Yeah.
Devlin is joining us, Chief of Police out there. We want
hey,
to
good
welcome him to the
morning.
show this morning
Good
as
morning.
well. All right. So here's what's funny. How have we become famous? You know you're famous when people start calling.
Well, we're not.
No, we are. I'm gonna throw my mouse at you.
Just put it out there.
We've become famous. You
Is
want to
it
know why?
attached? Is it
Oh
tethered?
no, it's
Oh,
not.
dang nabbit. I'm in
No,
trouble.
you're in trouble.
Josephine, good morning.
So no, check this out. We have been called a trashy podcast. You know you're making the big time
What?
when you get called a trashy podcast.
Oh, that's fun. Who said that?
So we were in the Levon Farmersville public group, okay, which means people are watching, which is great. I
Right.
love that, by the way. And somebody in there took offense to the show we had Chad Green on, where we were talking about Antifa, BLM, and all of that, right?
the one that we had on with him and Alonzo and Cleo and
First one.
Lashady.
The first one. No, the first one.
Gotcha.
And that we were setting up,
Trashy.
we were setting up,
My.
failure. We were hurting Americans by Chad's rhetoric and all of that stuff, right? And
Because
and
that's what we wake. JP and Corley and I and Charles, and as patriotic as all of us are, we wake up every day going, how can I damage America? Yeah, okay.
Right.
Okay.
well, what's interesting
get to
is
know us first.
I reached out to the gentleman.
Yeah.
He has a nice family,
Yeah.
nice looking man. So I reached out to him and I told him, I said, did you catch the show with Councilman Shimwell
Right.
and Alonzo and Chad and Cleo? And I said, because that's what it's all about. It's all about bringing together discussion, bringing together discourse.
In a
Civil discourse.
Yes,
Correct.
in a civil, respectful manner. And everyone who was on the show that day said that they felt like they were able to speak their thoughts and their mind, that they were not disrespected by us. And I had several very liberal leaning folks reach out and say, hey, really tough topic. Way to go. I was very impressed, and thank you for that. And we want to continue to bring that to you.
Well, and here's the key, right? And this is what I told him. I said, did you go watch that show? And I said, I appreciate your comments. He goes, just let me know. I'll come on your show one day. And I'm like, I'd love to have you on the
Okay.
show. And so would love to have somebody. I guess we haven't said this enough in this format. We don't seek out people who agree or line up with us. We seek out people who have a different opinion. The idea is to get the information out. Let you make the decisions, but hear the information, be a part of that information highway. We want to grow the marketplace. We don't want to stymie the marketplace. And so I've reached out to this gentleman. He says, it's not that show I'm talking about. It's the show with just Chad Green. I said, I understand that, but Chad Green's show is what generated that show. Having that brought together a community and now has brought that community to even closer. Alonzo and Chad have become good friends.
Oh,
We're
wow.
going to go on a tour
Yeah, we're all going
with Alonzo,
yeah,
including
our whole
Chad.
group, yes.
And this is how good it is. Councilman Shimwell, we do not agree. I don't know that we agree on anything except let's do what's right and let's be all good to humans, right? Politically. But he is willing to come back on our show and be a part of JP, Kathy, and the crew because we do seek out the truth and let people decide.
And here's the thing, and somebody who's coming on our show who is left-leaning, they know we are a right-leaning show. I mean, for crying out loud, I was the chairman of the Republican Party here in Collin County. JP and I, when we ran for elected office, ran as Republicans and governed as conservatives. So, and Corley is further to the right than we are, so, which is a compliment. But, and so is Charles, but here's the thing. I'm not opposed to having a conversation. None of us are opposed to having that conversation with somebody who we don't agree with. Now, that doesn't mean at the end of the day, if I'm pro-life and you're pro-choice, you're going to change my mind. No, you're not. But can we have a conversation maybe about some of the points where we do agree so we can build on that? And at least can we show each other not only respect, but human
Dignity.
decency,
Yeah.
just being a decent
Dignity.
human being.
To find
Yeah,
some common ground.
Yes. And I love hearing that from somebody Jacob's age, because it seems like the majority of people your age, Jacob, present company excluded, are all one way or all the other, and there's no in between. And so I love to hear that there is somebody from the younger generation.
Yeah, with a lot of things, a lot of people tend to go on two different extremes.
Yes.
And you honestly, both people usually have some things right. You just have to take both into consideration and make up your own mind and
Right.
find a solution to the problem.
Right.
How old
Yeah.
are you, Jacob? Tell everyone.
I'm 17.
Right.
Yeah,
So
impressive.
So to that,
impressive.
isn't that something? But so not only from his age though, Kathy, I was like, I would be happy to hear it from anybody. you
Right,
know,
at this
because
point, right.
That's true.
We're falling
Yeah.
into the abyss again. You know, like
You're
it's not
right.
good. So
You're right.
we have nothing in common anymore, and the end game is everyone equal. Yeah. So definitely equal, but definitely different outcomes. So if you're looking for the same outcome, that's something I'd love to talk about.
Yeah.
Right.
That's true.
because we all have the same abilities. We all have the exact same abilities and
Well, the same opportunities. Now, some people have
Right.
different abilities. Like, you're not going to see me try to
do
do
we?
something high
Oh,
tech.
do we? Oh,
No,
are
you're
you
not.
sure? You're being racist. You're being.
I'm a robot.
Am I being
You're being
racist?
a little racist.
Where's the
I
racist
just-
music?
I
We need
micro-
racist
I
music.
think I just micro and macro aggressed Corley.
Well,
did.
yeah. We're all.
Thank you. That's our racist music.
And and here's the thing: we're also not afraid to say on this show, there truly is racism out there, all sides. It does exist. Nobody's denying it. But again, we're going to talk about it from our point of view, and that's why we love the crew. We need to hear about it from your point of view. What is your take with that?
Absolutely. All right, we've got Dr. D
Woohoo!
coming on. So, what we have coming, because I told you 8:30, super special guest.
Yeah.
Very nice people. I've known Mary for some years now, and she married Randy Travis.
Yes.
And we just so happened to have a couple horses out at Randy's place. And we go up and we visit. They come down, they visit with us. And so next week, Randy Travis and Mary Travis will be joining us to talk about their new single that they've got out.
I love it. I love it.
And so, yeah, very exciting stuff.
I listened to it last night. It's really good.
Oh, I haven't had a chance
Yeah.
to hear it.
Yeah, and so we're going to have them on
Very
and help
exciting.
promote that new single, and just can't wait. And then we're going to go to lunch afterwards and have lunch with
Wait,
Mary. and
we're
Randy.
meaning
Well, you're welcome to join us
what?
Yeah.
What day is this?
next week. Join in,
Next
tune in.
week.
You got to tune in to find
Let
out.
the record show. JP
You gotta be
invited
here.
me to lunch.
JP invited me to lunch. All right, we've got Dr. Dave on. Good morning, Dr. Dave.
Hey, good morning, guys.
Good morning.
Now, Dr. Dave, I can already tell you, I made an announcement at 8:03 that you are not going to be coming on video. And
Yeah, you don't wanna see
the
what-
feed
what-
went
He
sad.
said,
going on
you
in-
could hear Lily. He's like, yeah, you don't want to see any of what's going on. That's hilarious.
Well, the feed went sad, Dr. Dave. We've got to get a Lily Go Camp.
Yes, we want a
I wish
GoPro
I-
on your
yeah.
head.
Physically do it where, because I'm literally walking back and forth between the living room and her room, kind of chasing her and looking at the phone on looking at the articles and stuff like that. So I don't know how to make it work. Where
Yeah, so
do
we've
all
got
those things
to
at once.
figure out
If she
the
would-
Lily Camp.
If she would sit still, it'd be great. But
Yeah, good luck with that.
Well, I'm just telling you,
Yeah.
Dr. Dave, we got to figure out the Lily Cam because everybody wants to see Lily and they love looking at you. So we got to take care of it.
yeah, thanks.
So
Appreciate that.
speaking of that, one of the things that we talked about in getting ready for today's show was, and I'm going to start kind of at the back end and go forward on you, Dr. Dave. is the fact that how about kids with special needs struggling to receive the good care during the pandemic? And, I don't hear anybody talking about that. And I love the fact that you have found this as a topic for today. And so let's kick off with that. I mean, first of all, what's going on with kids with special needs out there who are in need of care? And why does the pandemic block them from being able to get good care?
Well, obviously with the pandemic, any kind of access to anything seems to be lessened a lot.
Right.
And kids with disabilities, they require more support. And a lot of that can't be delivered remotely. So, the burden, that stress of the families, when the kids have these disabilities is a big thing. And the typical support system that they have is basically inaccessible. So, interactions with extended families is possible. Having that caretaker, maybe that nurse or taking them to a special school isn't accessible. Or even going to a regular primary school and maybe having, the different options that the schools have there as far as a special teacher or different kinds of training, is kind of left out in the dark for now. And so this has been going on since, back in March when things shut down. That there's just a lot of strain that causes on somebody with as little as, ADD or ADHD to dyslexia, children with cerebral palsy or Asperger's disease. There's all kinds of, or being on the autism spectrum, they need special help. And this also even, psychologists, speech therapists, occupational therapists, we just don't see them getting the kind of help and interaction that they're used to. And it's causing kind of a lot of downward effects. It can cause, a little bit of stunting as far as their growth. It can cause self-esteem issues. And what my biggest fear is, and what I kind of see on the back end, is you have to think that not every family is as equipped to deal with these as other families. So what can happen is being secluded and frustrated at home with a child that can cause frustrations, can lead to an increase in child abuse, or even either emotionally or physically. So that's my biggest concern, besides the kind of stunting, especially for the autistic children. Those families need a break and they need help. So when those avenues are decreased, you just worry about what can happen.
So, Dr. Dave, we're going to take a quick identification break. It is currently 8:33 here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. We are JP, Kathy, and the crew on the JP, Kathy, and the Crew Network. Join us Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 7:30 to 9 o'clock, and a rebroadcast. Charles, at what time?
11:30 a.m.
11:30 a.m. That's right. Catch a rebroadcast if we're just a wee bit early for you. Kathy, take it away.
All right, 73 degrees here in Frisco at VentureX Studios, where we hope we see you today between 11:30 and 1. Even if you come, grab a burger, take it
And
to
head
go.
out, yeah.
Just say hi. We'd love to see you. Headed towards a high of 93 today, a low of 69, and the weekend looks to be sunny and about 94 to 96 for a high over the weekend.
There you go. So, Dr. Dave, let me ask you this. It seems like a lot of churches had hosted parent groups that would offer a break for parents who had some severely handicapped children or children who struggled with
right, like a parents' night out, and
Right.
you would have people there who were equipped to work with special needs kids, so they would have that special care that they need. But with COVID, again,
it shut a lot of that down.
so many things are not an option.
Well, and a lot of parents would use that time to have a date night or go home and go to
Yes.
sleep for 3 or 4
Yes.
hours. Dr. Dave, what impact has that had on the mental health of both the parents and the children who have those special needs?
And I think it's getting, hold on a second, sorry, this one's I'm having an impact from mine
Lily.
right now. It needs to
Hi,
go and
Lily.
Oh,
What do you
Lily, you
want?
keep doing whatever you're doing. It's okay.
What do you
honey.
want?
I want bananas, Daddy. Give me
pink
bananas.
Cup. She wants a pink cup. That's what this is all about. Go
Yeah.
get your pink cup.
Heck yeah, I want the pink cup. She's like, hey,
Yeah,
man.
like right now I'm a parent. I'm a working parent that's a little frustrated. Normally I'd have-
you need a daddy's night out.
Yeah, I do. Well, normally, things are just, to me, with things being less structured, it just doesn't go as well. And so normally, I don't have anything to complain about compared to other people, but just as a small example, like everyone else, I would have taken my older daughter to school at 8 a.m., dropped Lily off at daycare, preschool a little bit earlier, been able to start the day, a little more structured.
Right.
And that's just not happening as much. So you imagine doing that to a family that
has a special needs
that
child.
has a child with special needs. Yeah, and then they
Absolutely.
really need that help. And the child, is probably not progressing as well as they used to. It's just, I think stress, anxiety, depression, frustration for everybody.
Well, and Dr. Dave, and I'm glad you brought this topic up because this is something that I've really struggled with. How would this look? Back in the 90s when I was a teacher at Plano East Senior High, I was the lead teacher for lead special education teacher, and I worked with the severe and profound group. So kids who were emotionally disturbed, physically disabled, severely handicapped. We're talking, very, very low IQs. I remember I had one young lady who, if she had all kinds of scars on her hands because she didn't feel pain. So she could put her hand on a burner and keep it there and wouldn't even feel pain.
Wow. Yeah.
So there's some real extreme. And I'm sitting here thinking, because I was, and my staff and I were always so hands-on with our kids, with our students. And I'm sitting here thinking, how would I recreate that in a remote environment? And I just know now, obviously, and just like the special education teachers of today, who I have so much respect for, are doing the best they can. But without that personal touch, I know I couldn't have been giving them my best self, if that makes sense.
No, we are, and we're all trying. And what I do know palpable, what I see in the ER is more kids coming in, with suicide attempts or depression or suicide ideation. Same with older adults that are, that don't want to spend their last few years of life like this. And I even feel guilty just talking about it because I know it's going on around the world, and I hear that we don't handle it as well as other countries. So then I feel guilty even talking about it. So I don't know what it's really like in other places, but.
Well, I mean, you can.
But the fact
you
is,
hear about the despair in other countries because even though we're limited and we still have a long way to go as far as mental health, at least we're further along. At least we're starting to acknowledge it and talk about it here in this country.
Yeah.
So, Doctor,
and I mean more just the seclusion from COVID. I think they do a better job at staying home and shutting down than we do.
Oh,
sure.
I'm not good at it.
Sure, certainly.
I can't stand it.
No.
So, Dr. D, let's shift a little bit. School has started. Some schools have gone back. Athletics have begun in schools. Recreational sports are back together. When do we visit the ER, and when do we not?
Yeah, it's a good question.
With our kiddos. And
Yeah,
things
it is a good question, and it's, I want people to know that you can come to the ER. You're about to hear water. Sorry, or else Lily's gonna have a breakdown. You can come to the ER whenever you feel like, you need to. Like we kind of streamline things to make sure that people are safe when they come. We don't want you to come. Come here, Mama. Sorry, I'm sorry, guys.
Lily,
we kind of streamline
Lily.
things that.
We love you, Lily.
Got him right next
I
to
need to
him.
get her to school early before
it.
the show. We've got things protected and streamlined now that the ER shouldn't be considered a dangerous place. People come and they still say they're afraid to catch COVID in the ER, and it's just simply not going to happen. Just like before, we don't want you to come in for something very, very minor that you could see your primary care doctor or urgent care about. But if you feel like there's something emergent going on, if you feel like there's an emergency, then we're there to take care of you, and you don't have to feel like you're going to get COVID.
Right.
So, all right, Dr. Dave, we put a picture of Lily up. She's adorable.
Yeah,
There she
me chasing
is.
her around while trying to do the show.
Yeah, she's.
I'm sure
I
the
think-
show is so much better when I can sit down and
She's-
concentrate.
No, this is great because this, here's the
You're
thing.
human, Dr. Dave, and a
This
good
is-
dad.
Dr. Dave, yeah, you're a great dad. You really are, and you can just tell you just absolutely love your kids. Here's the thing, one of the things we don't pretend to be here at JP, Kathy, and the crew is perfect. And, a lot of times people are like, oh, well, this got messed up. We're like, yeah, that's good. We'll go with it. That's going to get fixed. No big deal, because what you see, like when you meet any of us on the street, on the street, like we're going to be on the street. Hey, how you doing?
Kathy's on the street.
I don't know. Yeah, everybody's going to explain to me.
That's where I met JP, honestly.
Yeah, that's true.
It is.
That's how he met me.
See what happens? But
In the parking lot.
I sucked him in.
It's one of those things that you know, what you see is what this is the real world. You know, Dr. Dave is this accomplished, successful ER doctor and businessman, but he's also got a toddler. So guess what? I remember the toddler days. You're chasing a kid around and you're worn out. So I love it that the crew gets to see who we are in real life, because that's who we are on the show. Oh yeah, no, we
Appreciate
love it.
the
We love
patience,
it.
yeah.
We love it.
Yeah, it was a little easier when I could drop her off at school, or she would be young enough where she would just be sitting there quiet and staring up at the wall. That was a lot easier to do.
And Dr. Dave, I'm listening to you with your kid, and you're so passionate about what you're doing, obviously, but maybe they'll give me leverage at some point to tell you how I think you've been failed by a certain head of. The same way I think President Trump has been failed, you're kind of left to pick up the pieces. And I could almost convince someone to do it. Yeah, I mean, the whole thing was just not done right, and other countries have done it right. If it is such a bad thing, when on January 20th, when the first case came out in South Korea, that same day we had one in Washington D.C. and Fauci, and not to call any names, I just did.
But you did. But I will.
He kind of left President Trump hanging. I mean, he's supposed to know what to do, and obviously, if you get testing going quickly, fast, you isolate. Those who don't have it, who have mild symptoms, and you just isolate. So we were kind of set up for like failure, man. And you're kind of, like I said, picking up the pieces. And anyway,
Especially
don't want
in
to
an
run
ER.
off on that, but
No, it's a
that's
good point. What you're making is, I think we were kind of set up for failure on multiple sides too. And I tend to think to the future a lot. And well, one, before we get to the future, we are still having trouble testing. Like at multiple hospitals of mine, and we talk every day on how to conserve tests. We have different protocols on who gets what test, because we only get about 100 tests a week. In some of these ERs, we see 200 patients a day. So, it's like, do we send them out? Do we use our in-house tests? But I'm like, man, 6 months into this, I would think you can manufacture 24/7 and ramp these out where everybody has enough tests. So I don't know how we don't. And these are big, hospitals, part of big systems. So that's frustrating, number one. Number two, I think long term, honestly, I think in 2 or 3 years, the actual SARS coronavirus 2 will not be as big of a deal as it is now, meaning that we'll have adapted to it. We'll have antibodies to it, and it probably won't even be as bad as the flu then. And then I just don't want people to look back and say, oh, we overreacted. We did all this for nothing for some little cold. And no, that's not how it was, because our bodies reacted to it differently in 2020 than it will in 2023. So it was a big deal, but since we started off wrong, I don't know how to really get us back on track. And I don't think you can just shut us all down now for a couple months and think it'll fix things, because we're just too far into it.
Well,
we'll see what happens.
Yeah, well, just hang in there. I won't take it any longer, but I'm hopefully we'll bring this
like
back
that.
up, because man, you're definitely hanging in there. I mean, so it's really hard to hear that you're still short of tests. I'm like calling foul over here, because I mean it's pretty. Most experts agree that if you isolate the ones that have it, so remember, we didn't have anything to test with early on. So for many weeks,
right,
they were only saying those who were most severe go in. Fauci knows good and well, I can sound like my mom right now, good and well, that you have to broad your test, which is why South Korea did not have a broad shutdown. They were able to contain this. And it wasn't until like mid-March he spoke of isolating those asymptomatic people.
Right.
That should have been said January. In January he was talking about the wrong things. All right, and you all can go out there. I mean, I have a whole list. I've been following this guy for a minute, and I just think you're set up for failure. We don't have the time to go over it now, but good luck. And I hope and it's all being put on Trump. Well, you know what? we, executives have people to, Trump's not a doctor, and I got nothing else for you.
Well, let me tell you this: Trump has played doctor plenty times with this, and he's got more advisors than just Fauci. So I don't think the linear thinking there is. I think I'm sure there's way more that went on behind the scenes, and
Sure.
What you're saying though, in a different way, is this virus became political very quick, and
Which is
that's
a shame.
unfortunate. It needed to be
It
needed
is a
to be
shame that this
medical
yeah.
the whole time.
Sure.
And it became political because we've been so divided the last 8 12 years on politics that no matter what topic comes out there, it turns into a political issue.
Well, especially
When
with
if this was
social
purely
media.
kept medical,
Yeah.
yeah.
All of a
I mean,
sudden,
Trump probably didn't have a chance
and I would
because
agree.
if he defended it one way or
yeah.
the other, everybody's going to flip.
Correct.
It was one of those things. He was darned if he did, darned if he didn't. It didn't matter. Now,
Yeah.
something I think that he did right away that I do think probably saved at least hundreds of thousands, if not millions of lives, and that was shut down the travel from Asia, and he was slammed for that. I think what you have, Dr. Dave, and I know you see this because we've talked about this before. Everybody is, first of all, everybody's an armchair, president on Facebook and social media. And then also, and I can't even imagine how bad it is now with people trying to self-diagnose as a medical professional, which if you're not, you're not, because somebody will see something on social media or on Facebook and they'll be like, oh, well, that's it. So you're having to deal with that because somebody who should have gone to see their regular doctor or should have gotten to an urgent care didn't. And so you're seeing them almost when it's too late because people are they're letting Facebook diagnose their problems.
Yeah, there's a lot of Facebook MDs out there now, and
Yes.
that's going to
Google
happen
degree in
with the
medical
internet and social media. But it's just such a mess. Even there's we've seen examples of physicians out there making crazy statements, or physicians that are just that are primary care doctors, which is great, but they're not seeing the sickest of the sick. Making claims that a few medicines and nobody's died. Like, no, you haven't taken care of somebody with septic in the ICU. That just tanked a day after they got the disease. It's just all, we're in the middle of it in the moment, and it's going to take, like I've said many times, it's going to take years to really understand it and how we've adapted to it. So just keep trucking along.
Well,
I just hope for this year there's real global warming. It doesn't get too cold and this thing doesn't get too bad.
Oh, no.
Right? Well, I mean, I know what he's saying. I mean, absolutely. And also that our flu season isn't that bad.
Well,
which brings on
exactly.
maybe
That's
more
why.
people
Yeah.
get the flu vaccine just because they're a little paranoid, because there's so many people who now I get the flu shot every year, and then sometimes I get the flu anyways. Most times I do, but I know it could be way worse. So I look at, are people going to get more flu shots this year?
No, but I do know
I
that.
hope so.
Yeah,
I would hope so. You would think so.
Well,
But you hear people talking about vaccines just now because vaccines are becoming political. I'll give you a kind of a quick breakdown of what's going on in Texas. We were at a pretty high peak a few weeks ago. I think 24% positivity rate, which means 24% of people that got tested positive for COVID. And I'm not all about the whole numbers of testing positive. I want to know the complications and the deaths, not just anyone testing positive. But it is an indicator of how things are spreading. So that happened, and then everybody really did a good job of wearing masks again, and we got down to 9%, actually 8% a couple of days ago, and I was pretty hopeful, like, okay, we're getting things under control, and it jumped back up to 14% in the last couple of days. But it's just people kind of ebb and flow with relaxing on the guidelines. So, but needless to say, like, I hope, with the flu vaccine, hopefully it's a coronavirus vaccine, even if it's only 60% effective, we still could have a big decrease in the amount of infectivity.
Doctor, do you think that people who are showing no symptoms are getting tested? Because I think we know that the only way to stop it or to really put the brakes on this thing is to get the people that aren't showing any symptoms. those are the people
Yeah.
that's kind of what happened in February when all of the directive the directive to the healthcare professionals was to save tests for the most severe. And that went on for weeks, knowing full well, and this was my point, knowing full well that that's not the way to stop it. You have to test as many as you can. That's how Australia
You're
got
exactly
theirs
right.
down and South Korea. So, and Fauci never said that until mid-March, when he was questioned.
Well, he
by
did
a
want
council.
everybody to stay home, completely stay home, to prevent all of that. But what you're saying is an interesting point from my end. So we have patients in multiple areas that will come in with no symptoms and want to be tested because their loved one got tested, and we're positive. And somehow that can usually get a test opened up. Or they could go to a center or a hospital that has an abundance of tests, and they're testing everybody. And that's what I don't understand is there's some hospitals that have tons and tons of tests and can get as many as they want. There's some huge hospital systems that can only get a couple hundred a month. So I don't understand it. It doesn't make any sense. But from what you're saying, yes, there are people with no symptoms. Not a lot, but there are people with no symptoms that get tested and become positive. What I'm afraid of is those people. I don't think a lot of people are really staying home for 2 weeks anymore, no matter what, if they're positive. I think they're venturing out with mask on, maybe with mask off, or saying I'm not that bad, or
That's not good.
it's a hoax.
Yeah,
If
you're sick, stay
what we do
home.
know is that kids, we've learned, I sent JP an article on this, but we've kind of covered it, but that kids can have a very high viral load in their system and be spreading it with very, very minimal symptoms. So kids might end up being the super spreaders, which I'm like, oh, please don't let this be true because I want the kids to go to school. So that's something that's kind of we're learning about just recently.
Well, Dr. Dave, cannot thank you
sir.
enough for joining us, especially when I know you've got Lily, and she is a lot of fun, a bundle of energy.
No problem. I apologize. I was kind of scattered.
No.
Next week I'll do a better job of
No.
getting up
all
early
good.
and
We love it.
getting things handled.
No, but we need to get a Lily
All right.
go. We need a Lily go cam, so that way you
Yes.
can be on camera
Yeah.
and still be chasing
that's
Lily.
a good idea. That would be fun.
That would be fun. All right, well, Dr. Dave, have a blessed weekend and
you,
give
Dr.
that
Dave.
little girl a big old kiss for us.
All right, thanks.
Thanks, Dr. D. All right, Dr. David Derrigan, our emergency room doctor on everything ER. I'll tell you something that needs a critical ER visit. That would be the Democratic National Convention.
What was that? And I really do. I do want to hear from our liberal friends who are members of the crew. Please help me. For one thing, and you know what?
Please help me.
Help
me. Help me.
Literally, ask my husband how many times I literally stood up in front of the TV this week and said, "Oh, somebody please help me," or "Oh, don't you dare," or "Oh, shut it down," or "Oh, stop it."
Uh-oh, stop it, Kathy.
Yeah.
Uh-oh, Kathy. Uh-oh.
What?
I think we've got our live cam up. Do we have Chance
Hey!
with us?
Woohoo!
Chance, good morning. Unmute.
Okay, I'm unmuted.
Hey, Chance! He's cooking.
Stay with us, Chance. We
Sorry,
can't hear you
Chance.
just
I
yet.
muted you.
Charles has muted
Hear
you.
me?
There we
There
Now we
go.
can.
Am I good?
You're good. Chance, what are you doing?
Hey.
Hey guys, I'm doing great. I'm out here. It's still cool. Getting
Love
ready to
it.
barbecue. I got the grill set up, and I can't wait to see the crew members. Remember, we got the barbecue today from 11:30 to 1, and all the crew is welcome to come by, grab a burger, maybe an adult
Love
beverage
it.
or two, and get to meet you guys and talk about the good things we got going on over here at Venture X.
Where's the grills? I don't
All
see
right.
them.
Well, I
Love
see it
it.
right there. I see the
I'm
grill
sure
right
they're
next to him. There it is.
Oh,
I'm sure they're
there we
there.
go.
Him and Weber.
Yes,
We love it. Yay, Chance, you rock.
right.
So come on out
Yeah, I
and
can't wait.
come on out and meet Chance out there by the grill. I'm going to join him out there by the
Chance
grill,
Pokes.
and
He
we're
can
going to
ta-
hang out
he
here at
can take
Venture
you
X.
He can take you on a tour. He can show you around.
Well, no, he's gonna be
all
cooking.
good.
He's
that's
cooking.
right.
Yeah.
Well, you can
That's
set up a
right.
time to take you on a
So-
tour.
Tell everybody, hey, remember we're on the third floor, so you don't have to stand out here in the heat. I'm going to cook the food and take it upstairs to the third floor.
So what's
There
over
you
your
go.
other shoulder? Where's the toll road next to you, right?
Yep.
So they can see where the toll road is. so
There
they
you
can see
go.
turn in.
Yes,
Stonebrook and the toll road.
Super,
Right off the
super
toll
easy
lane, Stonebrook.
access. Super easy access.
Okay,
Great
guys.
building. COVID
All right,
friendly.
Chance, man. Happy
We'll see you
grilling.
in
We'll see you in a little
few.
bit.
All
See you in a
right.
bit.
All right.
That's awesome. Yeah, we just, I mean, we really, I mean, Chance and everybody out here, Leon, they've all become part of the crew, and it's just it's such a great relationship, and we just can't impress upon you how fantastic this facility is.
Sadly, we can't have the same relationship with the Democratic National Convention.
No, I mean, okay, y'all. It's,
it's terrible.
So and you know what? And when I watch the RNC convention next week, which it's a shame because JP, you and I would have been broadcasting from the RNC convention if the RNC convention would have happened, and we was same with the RPT, but COVID. So there you go, 2020. There you go. So I don't know what the Republican convention is going to look like next week. But all I know is this was a long, painful infomercial, and everybody, okay, the orange president is bad. Okay, we get that. We need light and we need hope. I didn't hear anybody say what their solution was, and I've got to say before I turn it over to you two gentlemen to dissect, I don't know. Kamala Harris, I don't know who that was. Here's a woman who was the chief law enforcement officer, who was a chops buster, who comes across as very gruff, very assertive, very tough, which there's nothing wrong with that. She was like a Disney princess night before last. She was up there and her voice was very sweet. And they had her in some outfit that wasn't like her normal kind of business suit. So it looked odd. It didn't look like it fit well. And her makeup was all done up and her hair was super soft curls. And she was talking like this, kind of like she was a Disney princess telling a story. I thought she was going to start talking about baking cookies. I was like, who is this?
Or was she going to break out in song or something?
I expected little birds to be circling around her head. It was, usually the vice president candidate against the next, who's on the ticket running against an incumbent, usually they bust the chops of the president. I fully expected her to get up there and bust chops on President Trump, even though I knew it would have been lies, but still, who was she?
Yeah, well, she was something, that's for sure. But just real quick, if you look up on the screen, you can see yourselves in your comments. We love this. How about this? Don't you just hate trolls said that's what these national conventions are. ... They're infomercials. The question is your infomercial a good one or is it a bad one? That's the question, right?
Oh, there you go.
This one was definitely, in my opinion, a bad one. A way bad one.
It was painful. People are like, why are you watching it? And I said, because I've got to talk about it on the show and I need to have actually watched it.
So again, Cleo's now marched on there. She has said, laugh out loud, I was accosted by one of my liberal neighbors yesterday over my Trump flag. He went down several rabbit holes, and if anything made me feel sorry for him, I thought the DNC convention was laughably bad. And so again, thank you for your comments. Keep those comments coming.
I want to know what happened to Under God.
In what they called the Pledge of Allegiance? Now, Joe Biden slipped it into his verbiage last night, and I'm like, yeah, you're making up for the fact that y'all left it out.
And we're going to talk about that on Monday.
Yes.
Because that deserves an entire 10-minute segment on what our entire country is based on, for goodness sakes. Democrats, Republicans, Whigs, all of them agreed under God. And so where we're at now is under Lenin. That's where we're at now.
Yeah.
No, I'm serious. I'm not kidding.
And the sad thing is I'm laughing out of fear because this is what the other side is all about. If you don't see Marxist things, even when Elizabeth Warren spoke, do you know that spelled out in the little cubby holes behind her, one cubby hole had B, one had L, one had M.
Oh, yeah. I didn't miss any of that. So let's be specific, shall we? And then I'm going to kick it over to Corley, and let's kick it back around this direction. But I want to kick it over to Corley here in just a minute. Corley's a PR guy. Corley's very good at what he does. He's helping Kathy and I become better,
and
which we appreciate.
That's hard.
Oh, it's a challenge. There's no doubt about it. You guys help me too. Well, I'm serious though. You're making us better, and I love that. I always want to get better.
That, yes.
Never good enough. Always can be better. But I want to have him bounce off of this. On their first 2 nights, their ratings are down by 40% from 2016. Everybody's home, Corley. Everybody is tuned in to something on the boob tube, as my grandmother and grandfather would say.
Oh, gosh. I was going to say, you sound 93.
Yeah. But everybody tuned in, right? Why are we down 40% the first 2 nights? The third night's not in yet, but they're guessing down 35% easily. Only got a 5% jump because Biden was actually speaking. What's your take on all that?
So I'll be really, really quick. But when I heard that, when I saw those numbers, and actually it was over 40% down. I thought it was north 45, but 46% down than last year. And I think when I heard that, the only thing I think of was the Great White Hype. Did y'all see that movie?
Yeah. Oh my
we talked
gosh.
about movies.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
And it was like a 2-hour movie, an hour and 45 minutes of this guy that's going to just tear his opponent up, and then of course at the end he just gets knocked out.
Right.
So maybe it's just hype. They're just kind of spinning wheels and pulling smoke over people's eyes. I mean, I have a few theories on all that, but that would be my answer. The numbers don't lie. Especially from the polls that we have.
And I'll be anxious to see what our numbers are for the RNC next week. I also wonder, because basically it was a glorified Zoom meeting, which again, I have no idea how the RNC is going to do that. I'm not a delegate this year, so I don't know how that's coming about. But do you think maybe it's because people are online doing Zoom meetings and virtual meetings and Google Hangouts all day, and then you don't want to come home and watch that? It was kind of lackluster.
It's unconventional. So this, being a convention, right? I said that already, but
pun intended. But
right,
I'm
right, yeah. But I would wager that our numbers are going to be higher. So I'll go on record with that.
Okay.
I definitely think it'll be higher.
Okay.
Just like when Trump came out.
Significantly higher.
Significantly higher.
Okay.
At least by 20%.
Wow.
So just wait for it.
Throw it out there. Okay.
Yeah. There are a lot of people waiting in the waiting to jump out at you.
Well, do you think I felt like this week was doom and gloom, a lot of doom and gloom. I think next week you're going to hear like everything was, I'm so sad because of this, and I heard about everybody who's had family members who died, and everything's sad and tragic, and which are all horrible things. But when I'm looking for somebody to lead me, I'm looking for somebody who's hopeful, who has encouragement.
So great point.
And I think we'll see that next week. I think you're going to see a lot of positivity next week.
Great point. So it's kind of like, Snow White was Snow White, but the Seven Dwarfs was who we talk about. And you got Sleepy, you got all the
Dopey,
right?
Grumpy.
What was that accent?
I don't know, but when you think
Let
about
him have it.
when you think about Biden, come on, how inspirational is Biden?
I started to fall asleep during the speech last night. I was like, Michael, please keep me up. And I did. In no disrespect, it was actually a good speech for him, but it was kind of like.
I heard he popped a couple of. Well, anyway, so.
Just say that after the end.
So he needs all of these people, these different demographics around him, a lot of women, and it's just a great thing to be
Cardi
quite frank.
B was the wrong woman with the wrong message and the wrong song to have around him this week. Just saying.
I agree. That's
just
good.
saying.
And Jacob brought that out. I hadn't heard of the song. It's a banger. But yeah, so it's how exciting is Joe Biden? Not very much.
Yeah.
So if his audience is truly this young demographic that's screaming, help me, look at me, look at me, look at me, I think there are a lot of intelligent Americans out there, and they're looking at this from a practical perspective. I think Americans are practical, and I think the truth will prevail. I think I saw in a movie, I think it was Dead Poet Society, people will read again. Anyway,
great movie.
So anyway, that's what I think, JP. I
Interesting.
think we're going to be just fine.
JP, do you look for a very different convention next week? A very different style and a very different message from the Republicans than you got from the Democrats this week.
So I think three things. One, I think that the Republican Party has a bit of an up on the DNC because they get to go second. So they get to look at what the DNC did, what worked, what didn't work. If they're smart, they're at home right now in teams of Zoom meetings trying to figure out, okay, how do we pivot over to make sure we make these adjustments so we can be better? If they're smart, that's what I would be doing. I'd be looking at it going, this didn't work, ratings weren't up, people weren't viewing. We need to do this.
And
we need
so
to pivot.
what do we do different?
Well, I think that we let the pundits figure that out and they go forward and they do it. I think that you use social media differently. It's like us. We left the radio. People are home. People are on social media. People are trolling social media. We have somebody on here that says, don't you just hate trolls? I mean, people are out there watching this. And I enjoy the comments coming from don't you just hate trolls?
I've got to go. I've got to read those.
Yeah, they're great.
You know who I think they should have on, JP? And we're going to talk about her next week. And that is Kim Klacik, who is running a Republican running for Congress out of Baltimore, who has heck, that probably has 8 million views by now. Her commercial, which is so great and so honest. If the Republicans are smart, they give her a night and ratings go through the roof.
Well, yeah.
I love her.
So this is kind of a critical analysis of my own party, but as much as the Democrats don't have a solution, I am praying that we come up with a solution that people can get their hands wrapped around instead of this reactive politics that the Republicans have been doing. There's a great message there. More people need to hear it. I think they would, but we need to formulate it right and have a solution. We need a solution as well, as much as the Democrats.
So my number one is we need to pivot on what DNC did. We get a chance to make ours better.
Okay.
We have to do that.
Okay.
I think you utilize social media, and I think you attack that a lot more than what the DNC did. The DNC utilized it to a very small extent. And I think we need to blow it up, number one. Number two, I think we've got to give an incentive to the American people to tune in. And I think Corley punctuates that.
What is that incentive?
He's given it to you.
Okay.
We have got to find people who are willing to give solutions.
Okay. Yep.
Spell them out.
Amen.
One of my biggest complaints with Joe Biden's speech is way too much rhetoric. Way too much hope and dignity and honesty. And I'm like, what are you talking about?
With no real solutions.
Yeah, with nothing.
Just,
it was pure rhetoric. And I'm tired of hearing rhetoric.
I think people can see through that. I'm trusting that people can.
Yeah, people are too smart for that nowadays.
I think so.
So I just cannot stand the rhetoric anymore. I'm tired of it. I'm tired of being told to swallow. We need hope. We need dignity back in our system. We need America back. Okay, first of all, why'd you attack him on jobs? Donald Trump, prior to the pandemic, has provided more jobs and employment opportunities than any president in the history of the United States.
Yes.
And you can't take that away. You can't take that away. Like,
the numbers
that's
don't lie.
real.
The economy was also,
That's right. That's real.
Yeah.
Now, here's the other thing, right? During the pandemic, I'm not going to blame him for job losses, which I think is interesting that Nancy Pelosi and Schumer and the DNC are blaming Trump on job losses during the pandemic.
Yeah.
Now, I'm also not going to do this, though. I'm also not going to go and say I'm going to give Trump credit for the job increases after the pandemic, because it's not. It's people getting their jobs back. And I think that that's rhetoric.
I think it was a natural that was going to happen.
Well, but I think the President
Thankfully.
Trump needs to stay away from the rhetoric of we've started increasing jobs again. No, we're putting people back to work again. I'm not going to ding you for the pandemic, but I'm not going to give you an applause for people going back to work. Okay. Now, you can pivot on that and you can say, I'm the one that's pushed this country back to going to work because nobody else wanted to do that. Democrats want to put us back in the cellar again and ruin our economy.
Like Biden, he's in the basement kind of by himself all the time.
Right.
I want a president that's out and about, leading by example.
So that's my second. That's my second.
That's huge because Trump needs to be out there leading and doing his own. Trump needs to do Trump right now. They need, and if we could just call him, Jacob, get him on the phone, because he needs to do Trump, and it's like he's following and kind of playing catch up a little bit. I don't like Trump like that. That's what made me in his first speech. My son and I were jumping up and down. I was like, "Who's this guy?
Yeah.
Where did this guy come from?" And so, it was a lot of leadership, and I think that alpha is now being countered with all of this. You have this weak Biden.
Soft and
he's almost, you can blow on him, he's going to fall over.
Right.
Anyway.
Right.
Well, and don't just hate trolls. Says mishandling and downplaying the virus caused it to spread, which in turn caused people to lose their jobs. So yes, blame him. I don't have time to address that. Don't you just hate trolls. But bring that back Monday with you.
We will definitely
because I'm going to have
continue
that
to talk about
conversation
this.
with you.
Yes.
I love the banter back and forth, and I love that we can go on about our day and not be hateful. And so I love that. Don't stop doing that. This is the reason why we have the feed up.
Right.
My number three is punctuate what you've done and expand on what you're going to do. And then live on the fact that you've done it.
Which is a great great record to live on because he
'Cause you've done
actually kept campaign promises.
Right.
Which usually people say, well, give me 4 more years because I haven't had a chance to get around to it. He's been there and done that and has a T-shirt.
And I love this. Rise, libertarians, rise. Love that. Love that.
Is that from the
Don't just
label?
hate trolls. Yeah, love that. All right, we're JP, Kathy, and the crew. We're getting ready to roll
Come
out
on,
of here.
see us.
We went a little longer today than normal. We're looking at a format because Corley has suggested this, maybe going to 2 hours again and popping up. So we're going to talk about that. So maybe we'll give you 30 more minutes of our trashy podcast. I love that. Trashy podcast. Join the trashy pod. Maybe we should rename our cast a trashy podcast. And no, Corley says, PR firm says no. No. Well, have a blessed weekend. Join us today at 11:30 here at Venture X, Dallas North Tollway, and Stonebrook. Please come on out. Let me cook a burger for you. You can take it to go. You can say hello. You can take a picture with us. We'll be in our
come
Speedos
hang out.
and bathing suits.
Oh, have a blessed weekend.
Have a blessed
Hopefully
weekend, everybody.
See you
We'll
at
see you on
11:30.
Monday at 11:30 today. Peace out. Deuces or something like that.
Oh,
Thing?
is that a thing?
I don't know. I've heard that.
Jacob, is that a thing? No.
Thank Gail.
The look on his face.